Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Benchmade Mini Adira. So to begin with, Benchmade took a lot of care with the packaging on this knife. We see right here that there's this printed sleeve, and taking it off, we get to the box. Now the water stands for the Benchmade water collection, which this knife is a part of. Opening up the box, which has these two magnetic snap closures here and here. You see it closes right in like that. So they include a cleaning cloth, which we'll take a look at. And again, for this water collection, they added a cloth that is themed to go with the collection. So we see that right here. We see a warranty card, which has some information on use and care, on the constructions of the knife, and it also includes information on the Life Sharp program, which is Benchmade's sharpening program. Getting to the knife itself, again, this is the Mini Adira. Now there's a full-size Adira, and this knife is the same proportions, but just smaller. Getting to the knife itself, we see a 3.2-inch blade of CPM MagnaCut. We can see that right here, MagnaCut. As well, if you couldn't tell, this knife uses the axis lock. And Benchmade tucks in that little cardboard slip right here. You see genuine axis mechanics. Now, for a long time, the axis lock was actually proprietary to Benchmade, and they had a patent on it. The patent expired somewhat recently, and now many other manufacturers have made their own versions. But Benchmade still continues to use it, and it is very tested, and it is a very good opening mechanism for their knives. More on this knife, we see that the handle is a thermoplastic, it's Grivery, and the colorway on this is actually called Depth Blue, and that's a color that's exclusive to this water collection. Now, in tandem with the orange anodized thumb stud and the orange paracord right here, along with a black paracord bead and black hardware, I think they did a great job with the looks on this knife. I love the blue and orange color. I think that they pair quite nicely. And I think that the colorway is pretty cohesive. But back to the handle. So the handle itself, it is full plastic, but what we see is that there are nested steel liners in here. Now, these liners don't go the full length of the handle, but what they do provide right here is some structural support right around the lock mechanism. So that will add to, you can see right in there, that will add to the structural rigidity of the knife right around that mechanism, which is what's most important. And then for the rest of the knife, we see that there is a metal backspacer here, and that's also going to provide some support. So even though it is a plastic handle, there is almost no flex in the knife. It is very rigid, and because of those supports here and here, they did a pretty good job on bolstering that plastic. So more on the blade, it is a drop point shape. We can see right here, and we can also see this swedge right here, which is unsharpened. You see the blade stock up here. Now the blade stock on this is 0.114 inches. So it's right there in between your extremely slicey knives and knives that are hard use. So it's going to be a good in-between. So taking a look at this knife in general, we see again that 3.2-inch blade. Overall, it has a length of 7.5 inches. So it's going to fall right into that medium EDC category. The weight on this is 3 ounces, and so not ultralight, but also not heavy. Again, given that axis lock mechanism right here, very easy deployment. See if we can open there. That was one of the things on this knife, zero complaints with. The action is smooth. Because I think of the specific handle material that it uses, there is a great sort of thunk when the blade is opened. I don't know if you can hear that, if that translates over camera, but very satisfying opening and very confidence inspiring. I didn't find any sort of quality control issues on this knife. I found no marks on the blade, no issues with the plastic. We do see here this very interesting pattern that they have molded into the plastic. That's actually quite comfortable. It provides some good support. I think the blade shape is actually quite interesting. Again, it's a drop point, which is a pretty normal blade shape, but they add this material right here. And what that allows you to do is to get really good purchase with your thumb with this grip, and you can also hold it like that. And either way, it really just seats in nicely. So I think the blade shape is wonderful. I think the mechanism works well. The axis lock is pretty tried and true. So what are my gripes with this knife? What are the issues? One, I think it's the price point. So the MSRP on this is about $230, and on many online and brick and mortar retailers, you'll see that price is usually around what they're going for. Sometimes you can get some on deals. So for that price, I do think that there are some other options available for a USA made Magna Cut that will come in cheaper. Hogue and Spyderco come to mind with competitive knives. And then another issue that I have with this knife. So this knife it's in the water line, and it is pretty clearly marketed towards outdoorsmen who are going to spend a good amount of time in freshwater, saltwater, whatever it may be. And I did read in the marketing material that this is a stainless axis lock mechanism. So the Omega spring, which is the sort of S-shaped spring that's in here that actually makes that axis lock function the way that it does, they're claiming that is stainless. Now I'm not sure if they're using a different metal, different alloy to achieve that, but that is something that they do explicitly mention. What they don't mention, however, is the handle hardware itself. So we see here, and here, as well as the pocket clip. And I do know that the pocket clip has a black oxide finish, and black oxide is not, that's not going to hold up well, especially in salt water. That's going to rust pretty quickly, and this hardware, again, if it's not a non-ferrous material, this hardware could have the same issue. And they don't mention that it's titanium or anything like that. So that's a concern that I have, that if you are using this in especially a saltwater environment, that you are going to pick up some corrosion on the handle hardware and especially on the pocket clip. The pocket clip itself, it is pretty close to it. You know, I would call this a deep carry, or almost a deep carry pocket clip. We see the line goes right there. And other than, again, that black oxide construction, I have no qualms with the pocket clip. We see the Benchmade butterfly is engraved in there. Again, just a quick note, I thought the lanyard was a very nice touch. Again, if you don't like it, you can just pop it off here, and that is really no trouble to get off the knife, just like that. I prefer to keep it on. I think, again, the color complements the blue quite well, and it provides some utility. But so with that hardware in question, I just wonder if it would be a good knife for especially saltwater environments. I think you will likely pick up some rust, and that can discolor the area around it. That can cause this hardware to seize. If you go to clean it or take it apart, you'll run into issues there. As far as the choice of steel on the blade, I think Magna Cut is a wonderful steel for stainless applications, or applications where corrosion resistance is paramount. And I think that's a great choice. I do have another issue, however, with the blade. So Benchmade advertises that this is 60 to 62 Rockwell hardness. One, that's quite a bit of variation, and two, Magna Cut is really hitting its sweet spot at above 62 HRC, 62 Rockwell. that's when you're going to get the best mix of the edge retention, corrosion resistance, and the toughness. This could be 62, but it could also be 60, which is on the low end of what's possible for MagnaCut, and it's really not getting the full potential out of the blade. So if they could tighten up that parameter to maybe 61, 63, that would be wonderful. Again, taking the pricing into consideration, if you can find this below 180, that's actually where I found this knife at that price point, I think it's going to be a wonderful daily EDC. It does have the Benchmade warranty, which is quite good. It's got the Benchmade sharpening, which if you don't sharpen your knives at home, that's something that could be nice. The action from that axis lock is fantastic. No complaints there. Color is wonderful. I think the handle material is a good choice for what this knife is. Just those minor complaints of the hardware, of the potential that is there for the blade for a higher Rockwell. And again, that price point again. I think if you can find it under 200, I think it's under 200, under 180, I think it could be a compelling competitor to other USA-made MagnaCut knives. That being said, overall, I really do enjoy this knife. This is my first impressions. I've carried it a little bit, but certainly not extensively. I'm looking forward to using this knife more. It's just a knife that you just enjoy using. There's certain knives that, because of their form factor, because of how they present, they are just more enjoyable than perhaps some other utilitarian knives. So overall, I'm quite happy with this. I think Benchmade did a wonderful job. I think, and especially with their packaging, it is a huge step up from some of the other things that we've seen. And it does just have a premium feel to it. So overall, I would recommend this knife with those caveats of the pricing and potential issues with corrosion on the hardware. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.